My dear friends, take a moment to pause. Breathe deeply. Feel this very moment. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered where did time go? Have you ever felt the weight of age, the pain of loss, the ache of solitude? Aging is inevitable, yet suffering is not. The Buddha taught that impermanence, anicca, is the very fabric of existence. Everything that arises will pass away, and yet, within this fleeting nature of life, there is a profound truth: we have the power to find peace. Today, we will journey through the greatest challenges of aging: declining health, the loss of loved ones, loneliness, a fading sense of purpose, and the burden of regret. But this is not a video of despair. This is a video of wisdom, of clarity, of liberation. For within these struggles lies the opportunity for awakening. Each moment you spend watching is an opportunity to transform your perspective, to embrace aging not with fear, but with wisdom. Stay until the end, absorb these timeless teachings, and discover how Buddhist philosophy offers the path to peace in the face of life's inevitable changes. But before we begin, if this message resonates with you, if you seek deeper understanding in life, subscribe to our channel Golden Buddhism. Let us walk this journey together. And now, let us step into the truth of impermanence. The decline of health, embracing impermanence. There was once a man who, in his youth, would rise with the sun, his feet light upon the earth as he ran through the morning mist. But as time passed, his body, once vigorous, began to slow. What once was effortless, standing up, walking a few steps, became a struggle. The doctor prescribed medicine, but nothing could restore him to the way he once was. This is the nature of all things. Impermanence, anicca, is the fundamental truth of existence. The Buddha taught that all compounded things are subject to change. Our bodies, like the leaves on a tree, flourish in the spring, stand tall in summer, and inevitably wither in autumn. Yet, suffering arises not from this change itself but from our resistance to it. We grasp onto the illusion of permanence, believing that what is strong will always be strong, that what is young will remain youthful. And when reality contradicts this illusion, we suffer. But, my friends, if we can accept impermanence, we liberate ourselves from suffering. Rather than lamenting what is lost, we can shift our awareness to the present moment, caring for our bodies with compassion, not attachment. Even as the body weakens, the mind can grow in wisdom. To those who grieve their declining health, I offer this reflection: rather than asking, "Why is my body failing me?" ask, "How can I care for this body, even as it changes?" In this, there is peace. The loss of loved ones, letting go with gratitude. There was once a woman who had spent decades with her beloved partner. Together, they built a life, shared meals, laughter, and quiet moments. But now, she dines alone. The chair across from her remains empty, and the house is filled with the echoes of what once was. Losing someone dear is one of life's greatest sorrows. The Buddha acknowledged that separation is inevitable from loved ones, from possessions, from even our own bodies. But does this mean we must drown in grief? No. The way forward is through understanding and gratitude. The love we share with another is a gift, a moment of connection in a vast ocean of time. Instead of lamenting what is no longer, we can cherish what was. Instead of clinging to the past, we can honor those who have departed by living fully, compassionately, and wisely. Grief is not a sign of weakness, it is a reflection of love. But love, when held too tightly, becomes suffering. To love without attachment is to love freely, without fear of loss. And when the heart can do this, even death cannot separate us from those we cherish. Loneliness, finding solitude in oneself. Imagine a man whose children have grown and moved away. His friends are fewer, the gatherings of youth now distant memories. His days are filled with silence, broken only by the hum of the television. Though surrounded by a world of people, he feels unseen, unheard. Loneliness is not merely the absence of company, it is the absence of connection to others, to oneself, to the present moment. But the Buddha taught that the greatest companionship we can cultivate is with ourselves. The wise do not fear solitude, for they have learned to sit in its stillness and find peace. The mind that is restless seeks distraction, the mind that is at ease finds joy and quietude. If one depends on the presence of others to feel complete, suffering will always follow. But if one learns to enjoy one's own company, one is never truly alone. True connection arises not from mere proximity to others, but from presence. If we are present with ourselves, we can be present with all beings. Turn loneliness into solitude, and solitude into inner peace. The loss of societal role, redefining purpose. A teacher, a doctor, a leader once, they were needed. People sought their guidance, their wisdom. But retirement came, and with it, a creeping emptiness. Who am I, they wonder, if I am no longer my profession? So many of us define ourselves by what we do, not who we are. But roles change, titles fade. Our value does not come from our occupation, it comes from our capacity to live with wisdom, compassion, and kindness. The Buddha did not measure a person's worth by their status or achievements. He measured it by their ability to let go, to act with loving kindness, to cultivate wisdom. A life well lived is not one filled with accolades, but one filled with understanding and service. Even in old age, the capacity to give, to teach, to inspire, to uplift remains. The hands may not be as strong, the steps not as swift, but the heart can still offer kindness, the mind can still offer wisdom. A true teacher is not defined by a classroom, a true healer not by a hospital. Purpose is not lost with age, it simply takes a new form. Regrets of the past, living fully in the present. A person sits and recalls their past. If only I had taken that opportunity. If only I had chosen differently. If only I could go back. The mind becomes trapped in an endless cycle of longing and regret, unable to embrace the moment that is here. But what is regret, if not a refusal to accept impermanence? The past is gone, as unchangeable as the rain that has already fallen. The future is uncertain, like the wind that has not yet arrived. The only moment we ever truly have is this one. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we resist reality. If we dwell in the past, we are blind to the beauty of the present. If we worry about the future, we waste the peace available to us now. Instead of regretting, ask, what can I learn from my past? How can I apply that wisdom today? How can I live this moment so fully that there will be no regret tomorrow? The path to liberation is not in changing what has been, but in fully embracing what is. Aging is not suffering in itself. Suffering arises when we resist the natural flow of life. The body will weaken, loved ones will depart, roles will change, time will move forward. But within all this change, peace can still be found. Embrace impermanence. Let go of clinging. Find purpose beyond titles. Seek companionship in solitude. Live so fully in the present that regrets dissolve like morning mist. Then, my friends, even as the years pass, your heart will remain as light as the wind, and your spirit as free as the sky. Embracing impermanence to face aging with wisdom. The Buddha taught, this body is impermanent, its decay is inevitable. These words, though simple, carry profound wisdom. The nature of all things in this world, our bodies, our relationships, our possessions, is impermanence. To resist this truth is to create suffering for ourselves. Aging is not an enemy, nor is it a punishment. It is simply the unfolding of nature, the same force that once gave us youth and vitality. When we were young, we did not resist the energy that surged through us, nor did we lament the strength of our limbs. Why then, as time passes, do we resist the changes that come? It is because we cling to what was, to how things used to be. This clinging is what brings suffering, not aging itself. Instead of grieving over what is lost, we must learn to cherish what remains and nurture what is still within our reach. The body may weaken, but the mind can still be strong. Our mobility may slow, but wisdom grows deeper. The skin may wrinkle, but the heart can still be filled with love and kindness. This is where our attention should rest, not on the unavoidable loss, but on the beauty that still exists. A wise person does not waste time fighting the ocean's tide. Instead, they learn to move with it, to flow in harmony with nature. So too must we learn to accept the changing body without resistance. This does not mean we neglect it or surrender to suffering. Rather, we care for it with mindfulness, eating well, practicing gentle movement, engaging in meditation, but without the illusion that we can stop time. When we embrace impermanence, aging is no longer something to fear. It becomes a teacher, guiding us toward detachment, patience, and deeper understanding. It reminds us that what is truly ours is not this fleeting form, but the wisdom and compassion we cultivate along the way. Letting go of loss through contemplation on karmic connections. The Buddha taught, nothing is permanent. Meeting is due to karmic connections, and parting is also due to karmic connections. In this fleeting world, everything arises and ceases according to causes and conditions. We come together, share moments, and inevitably part ways, not because of any injustice or misfortune, but because this is the natural flow of life. To cling tightly to what is bound to change is to invite suffering. Many people suffer deeply when they lose a loved one. Their hearts ache, and their minds are trapped in grief, asking, why did they have to leave? But if we look deeply, we will see that our sorrow often comes from our own attachments, our reluctance to accept the impermanence of all things. Imagine a river. The water flows continuously, it never stays still. The pebbles and leaves it carries may stay for a moment, then drift away. This is the nature of life. When we meet someone, it is as if we are flowing together in the same current. And when it is time to part, it is simply the river continuing its course. Does the river grieve when a leaf drifts away? No, because the river understands that everything moves according to its own path. So too must we understand that those who come into our lives do so for a reason, and when they must leave, it is also for a reason. To love someone does not mean to hold on to them forever. True love is spacious, allowing the other person to come and go freely. If we truly cherish someone, we honor their presence when they are here and bless their journey when they must go. Instead of drowning in sorrow, we can transform our love into gratitude. I was blessed to share this time with them. Their presence enriched my life. This gratitude allows us to keep their memory alive in a way that brings peace, not suffering. We must ask ourselves, am I mourning their absence, or am I failing to appreciate what still remains? Even when someone leaves us through distance, separation, or even death, there are still countless moments of beauty in our lives. The morning sun still rises, the breeze still caresses our skin, and the people around us still offer love and kindness. The mind, when left unchecked, clings to what is lost. But if we train it, we can redirect it toward what remains. Every day, we can practice reflecting on 3 things we are grateful for: our health, the kindness of a friend, the simple joy of breathing. When we shift our focus in this way, we transform suffering into wisdom. The Buddha did not teach us to suppress grief, but to understand it. When we understand that all relationships are the result of past karmic connections, we stop asking, "Why was this taken from me?" and start appreciating, "How wonderful it was to have had this person in my life at all." By contemplating deeply on karmic connections, we free ourselves from the weight of loss and open our hearts to the ever-flowing river of life. Learning to dwell in the present to overcome loneliness. The Buddha once said, "One who lives alone is not lonely if they have mindfulness and awareness." These words carry a profound truth. Loneliness is not merely the absence of people, it is the absence of interconnection, the inability to be at peace with oneself. Many people, especially as they grow older, find themselves engulfed in a profound sense of loneliness. The world around them seems to move on, children grow up, friends become distant, and routines that once provided meaning begin to fade. In such moments, we may feel abandoned, disconnected, and adrift in a sea of memories and longing. But the true cause of suffering is not solitude itself, it is our resistance to it, our clinging to the past, or our craving for company that is no longer there. To overcome loneliness, we must shift our perception. Instead of seeing solitude as a burden, we can embrace it as an opportunity, a gateway to deeper self-discovery, wisdom, and inner peace. The present moment is always available to us, yet we often look past it, caught in thoughts of what was or what could be. But if we return to the now, we will realize that loneliness is an illusion created by the mind. The path to inner peace. 1. Cultivating mindfulness through meditation. One of the most powerful ways to free ourselves from loneliness is to develop mindfulness. When we meditate, we learn to sit with our thoughts, observe them without judgment, and let them pass like clouds in the sky. We realize that we are not our thoughts, nor are we defined by our emotions. Instead, we become aware of the vast, boundless presence that exists beyond the chatter of the mind. In deep meditation, one can experience an immense sense of wholeness. There is no need for external validation, no need for company to fill the void. Instead, we touch the profound stillness that has always been within us. Solitude, then, is no longer something to escape, but something to cherish. 2. Finding connection beyond the self. While mindfulness teaches us to be at peace within, it does not mean we should isolate ourselves from the world. True connection does not arise merely from social interaction, it arises from a heart that is open, compassionate, and engaged with life. There are many ways to cultivate this connection. Engage in acts of kindness, volunteering, helping others, or simply being present for someone in need can bring a deep sense of purpose. Learn something new, acquiring a new skill, exploring an interest, or joining a community of like-minded individuals can reignite a sense of joy and belonging. Appreciate the natural world. Spending time in nature reminds us of the interconnectedness of all things. A tree stands alone, yet it is not lonely, for it is deeply rooted in the earth and nourished by the sun. So too can we find harmony in simply existing as part of this vast universe. Loneliness is not cured by surrounding ourselves with people, it is cured by awakening to our own completeness. The moment we stop seeking fulfillment outside of ourselves and turn inward, we will find that we were never truly alone. By dwelling in the present, practicing mindfulness, and opening our hearts to the world in new ways, we transcend loneliness. Instead, we discover a profound sense of unity not just with others, but with life itself. Finding meaning in life through giving. The Buddha once said, "Happiness does not lie in what we have, but in what we give." This simple yet profound truth holds the key to unlocking the deeper meaning of life, especially as we grow older. Too often, we measure our worth by what we have accumulated, our possessions, achievements, or status. But in the twilight of life, we begin to see that these things, no matter how grand, cannot bring lasting fulfillment. True fulfillment arises when we shift our focus from receiving to giving. This is the natural law of life, like a tree that bears fruit not for itself but for others, like a river that flows without hesitation, nourishing all it touches. The more we give, the richer our inner world becomes. Each wrinkle on our skin is a line in the story of our life. Each challenge we have faced, each lesson we have learned, these are treasures far more valuable than gold. Yet, what use is wisdom if it remains locked away? The younger generation walks the same path we once did, facing the same doubts, the same struggles. But they have yet to see what we have seen. By sharing our experiences, we become beacons of guidance, lighthouses in a storm. We do not impose our views, but simply offer what we have learned, planting seeds of wisdom that may one day bloom in their hearts. This is an act of compassion, and compassion is the highest form of wisdom. When we give selflessly, we do not diminish ourselves; on the contrary, we expand. In guiding others, we refine our own understanding, serving others through charity and kindness. When we serve, we step out of the narrow prison of the self and merge with something greater. To help someone in need, to ease another's suffering, to bring even a moment of joy to another being, these are acts that transcend the self and dissolve the illusion of separation. Charity is not only about material giving. A kind word, a listening ear, a gentle presence, these too are forms of giving. When we offer our time, our love, our patience, we are practicing the highest form of generosity. In Buddhism, we call this dhyana, the practice of selfless giving. It purifies the heart and dissolves attachment. When we give freely, we loosen the grip of selfish desire, and in doing so, we taste true freedom. A life spent accumulating is a life spent in fear of loss, fear of insufficiency. But a life spent giving is a life lived in abundance. The paradox is this: the more we hold on, the emptier we feel. The more we let go, the fuller we become. Like a candle that does not lose its flame by lighting another, our light grows brighter when we use it to illuminate others. This is the great secret of life: we are not separate. When we lift others, we lift ourselves. So, when you feel lost, when you wonder about the meaning of your days, do not look inward with despair, look outward with love. Give freely, without expectation, and you will find that in giving, you have received the greatest gift of all, a life of purpose, a heart at peace. Living fully in the present to avoid regret. The Buddha once said, "The past is already gone, the future is not yet here. There is only one moment for you to live, and that is the present." This simple yet profound truth holds the key to liberation from suffering. Yet, many of us find ourselves trapped in the past, dwelling on what could have been, or anxiously projecting into the future, fearing what may come. Such a mind, constantly oscillating between regret and worry, never truly experiences life as it is. But what is life if not this very moment? What is joy if not the capacity to be fully present with what is here and now? To live fully in the present is to practice mindfulness, Chan Nim, to bring our awareness to this breath, this step, this meal, this conversation. When we are mindful, we recognize that this moment is a miracle, an opportunity to engage with life deeply and authentically. Think of a simple act: drinking a cup of tea. If your mind is elsewhere, filled with regrets or plans, you will drink the tea, but you will not truly experience it. But if you are fully present, you will feel the warmth of the cup in your hands, the aroma rising, the taste unfolding on your tongue. A simple cup of tea becomes a doorway to profound peace. The same is true for all aspects of life. A gentle breeze on your face, the laughter of a child, The sight of leaves rustling in the wind, these are not insignificant. They are invitations to return to the present moment, to be fully alive. The greatest tragedy is not that time passes, but that we fail to be present for it. If we do not live fully now, when will we? If we do not appreciate this moment, what makes us think we will appreciate the next? Living in the present does not mean ignoring the past or neglecting the future. It means not being bound by them. We learn from the past but do not dwell in it. We prepare for the future but do not fear it. As the Buddha taught, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. When we truly embody this teaching, regret fades away, for we see that each moment is fresh, new, and full of potential. Every breath is an opportunity to begin again. Every sunrise is an invitation to live with renewed clarity. So I ask you, dear friend, can you pause right now and take a single deep breath? Can you feel the air enter your lungs, the stillness within you? This, too, is life. This, too, is enough. Live fully, and you will never live in regret. Now, my dear friends, let us reflect. What have we learned today? Aging is not the cause of suffering, resisting change is. Health will decline, loved ones will depart, time will continue its course. But the wise do not cling to what must pass. The wise embrace each moment with awareness, gratitude, and serenity. The Buddha did not promise eternal youth, nor did he teach us to escape impermanence. He showed us how to live within it without suffering, to accept the aging body without despair, to cherish those we love without attachment, to find joy in solitude, to redefine purpose beyond titles and roles, to live so fully in the present that regrets dissolve like mist at dawn. So, I ask you, will you let these truths transform your life? Will you step beyond fear and into wisdom? If these teachings have touched you, share your reflections in the comments. What lesson resonated with you most? And before you leave, remember to subscribe to Golden Buddhism. This is only the beginning of a profound journey, one of clarity, one of liberation. Let us walk the path together. May you be well. May you be at peace. And may your heart be as light as the wind.